Hello and welcome back to Heat Digest. On this episode, we are going to recap the Miami Heat's trade deadline, or the lack thereof of a trade deadline that the Miami Heat had. But first, before we break into all those reports, remember to subscribe to the channel, as 93% of you guys currently watching this are not subscribed to the channel. It'd mean a lot to us over at Heat Digest, as we are less than 150 subs away from 1,000. It'd mean a lot to us. Thanks for the support. Now let's get to the lack thereof that the Miami Heat did for the NBA trade deadline. Now, if you guys do not know, the NBA trade deadline happens every year at the same exact time. It is February 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single year. Teams are obviously fully aware of this, and if you don't know, the NBA trade deadline is just so when teams are allowed to make transactions with other organizations and hope to trade an asset in return for other assets, draft compensation, whatever it may be. And it expired today at February 8th, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Miami Heat did not make a big splash, and as in the splash that we were hoping for. Yes, they did go get Terry Rozier less than a month ago on January 23rd. They landed Rozier for a 2027 first-round draft pick in Kyle Lowry. Now, again, when this trade first happened, on paper, it seemed amazing. Again, has taken a while for Terry Rozier to really find his footing, but over the last few games, he's looked a lot better, especially compared to how he did in the first three games in a Miami Heat uniform. So that is aging decently well, and it seems like it'll expand into an even better trade for the Miami Heat as things go on and time allows the Miami Heat and Terry Rozier to really come to fruition. But again, for the Miami Heat as a whole, we really have a gaping hole at the power forward and center position, as Bam Adebayo is still starting at the center position, as we did not go out and get some real size, some defense, and some interior presence, if you will. Now, there was a bunch of options, it seems like, on the table, especially cheap ones. Over the last week or so, you've seen me and others like Nick call for people like Nic Claxton, PJ Tucker, to be traded to the Miami Heat. Well, there was another option we did not really mention. His name was Daniel Gafford. He today was traded to the Dallas Mavericks, for Richaun Holmes in draft compensation. Now, this on paper might not seem like a big trade if you are a casual, if you don't really follow either the Wizards or the Mavericks, but I will fill you in, as Daniel Gafford was an absolute steal for the Dallas Mavericks, who were extremely busy today for the NBA trade deadline. Now, if you don't know, Daniel Gafford has played 45 games this year. He's averaging 26.5 minutes played, and the stats aren't going to knock you out of your seat, but he is a very good player, especially if he's a backup center or even a starting center, playing his role specifically. He's not going to score 20 points a game, but he is going to give you 10 to 11 points a game, as he's averaging basically 11 now at 10.9, 8 rebounds, 1.5 assists, a steal, 2.2 blocks a game with a turnover, while shooting 69.2% from the field. Those are great numbers. Again, they are not going to wow you really drastically, but he is still a very, very good player, and he gets his job done correctly. Now, here's just a different way to look at it. 10, 8, 1.5 while shooting 69%. And again, he's very young. He's 6'10". He's 25 years old, and he's now going to the Dallas Mavericks organization, where he will probably be a backup center behind someone like Lively. Well, it'll be great for him. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But once again, the Miami Heat had the chance to go out and get him, and the biggest thing is they gave up Richaun Holmes. This is Richaun Holmes this year. 3.4 points, 3.4 rebounds, a 0.7 of assist, while shooting 55.9% from the field. The Miami Heat could have moved one asset probably straight up and got him. And obviously, I'm not calling for people like Josh Richardson or Duncan Robinson or Jaquez or Kevin Love. We could have moved someone like Thomas Bryant or Orlando Robinson or Hayward Highsmith. It seems like possibly even straight up for someone along the caliber for Daniel Gafford, as the Dallas Mavericks just traded someone in Richaun Holmes, who hasn't really done much all season long. Here's a different look at it, and to give you even more of a breakdown of what he's done this season. He's only played in 23 games all year. He's only started in 2 of them. He's averaging 10 minutes played per game. He's only taking on average 2.5 shots per game. We could have traded. And again, no, I'm not saying Richaun Holmes is a bad player, because he's in the NBA. He's obviously a good basketball player. But we have guys we could have traded straight up that would have been more valuable than Rashawn Holmes to the Wizards, and we could have gotten a great player. Again, it would have been Eastern Conference to Eastern Conference. It would have been Wizards to Heat in the sense of the trade. But again, the Wizards are not contending for anything this year. Making us better would have not hurt them all that much due to the fact that they're not going to be competing with us whether or not they give him to us or not. But again, the Miami Heat really, really missed out on a big opportunity, it seems like here, as Daniel Gafford is a good player. Again, here's some of his stats. 10 points per game, 8.8 rebounds. It's really 8 rebounds per game. 2.2 blocks, which is 7th in the NBA, and his true shot percentage is 70.8, which is not tied for first. He is first. He's along with 2 other players shooting 70% or higher with in a true shot percentage statistic. He is playing extremely, extremely well. He's not. If he would have came to Miami, I would have seen him starting at the center position. We could have moved Bam back up to the power forward, and we would have been running a massive lineup with Jimmy at the 3, Adebayo at the 4, and Gafford at the 5. The Miami Heat would have gotten significantly better. It would have improved the Miami Heat in a position where we needed it desperately, as we've struggled to rebound the basketball, to defend the paint, and really have a defensive presence down below, especially with how versatile Bam Adebayo is. He's able to move out to the perimeter and play great defense, but when that happens, it leaves a gaping hole in the paint where teams have found great success on scoring on the Miami Heat. Really, not just there, but around the entire, really anywhere on the basketball court. It seems like when the Miami Heat goes into droughts on the defensive end, we look bad. But inside the paint, when Bam is not on the floor or he comes outside the painted area due to defensive reasons and the opposing team stretching the floor effectively, we are not good in the paint. And Daniel Gafford would have been a huge success for the Miami Heat if they were able to go out and get him, or even try to go out and get him, I should say, because again, we do not know if we made calls and the Wizards just basically didn't answer, or they just already had a deal set with Dallas. But once again, the Miami Heat really, really missed out on an opportunity. Let me know what you guys think. Would have Daniel Gafford been good in a Miami Heat uniform? Would you guys have liked to see Daniel Gafford in a Miami Heat uniform? And overall, let me know what you guys think of the Miami Heat's NBA trade deadline. Did we fail? Did we pass? Are we even, would you say? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one of Heat Digest.